Alright, we all know what you're here for. You're here for the Arcane Lineage race tier list. So I'll be going over some upsides and some downsides about all of these races and what classes they're good with. And let's just get straight into it. So starting off with Vadier. Vadier is a 1% race. Good for speed builds, but for being 1% and getting downsided quite a lot. AKA the downsides are just dealing damage to yourself and wasting a turn. It's just not great at all. Doesn't fit into many builds. Sometimes speed builds, but just not very great. And the other 1% race, which is Doahhan, you get 12 extra points to put into your stats. You get Ghost Flame, Lifeless Skull. Overall, pretty great. It can fit into like every class and really good with tier 3 vanilla with Permute because it gives you, since you have more stats, you get a better buff, and we're putting that in high A tier. Next up, we got Venerary. Venerary is very strong DPS wise. With 50k gold, you get like 15 or 20% extra damage. So just keep 50k gold on you for the extra damage buff. It has a move where it eats up 1,000 gold and gives you a small buff in whatever your highest stat is, which is also pretty nice. Overall, you can use this in any DPS build, but other than that, you might be able to use it in some farming builds. So we'll put that in a nice A tier. Next up, we have the Stand. This used to be good when necromancers and summoning builds used to be good, but overall, summoning builds are just not too great anymore. One of its abilities gives you a major downside. It just gives you a small buff, and then later gives you 2 heavy stun, which as a mage class, that's not Hexer, you do not have much HP at all. So after all that, I would have to put it C tier. Best classes for it would be Necromancer and Arcane Wraith to benefit from the extra summon HP. Next up, we have the most common race, Estella, but for being the most common race, it is very, very strong. You get a 35% extra damage buff when you are under 50% HP, which is very strong for some classes like Impaler and Berserker, but it does get nerfed when you're Berserker, by the way. And things like reduces the buff by 50%, something like that. So, and it also gives you a heal up, which is good for some builds like Paladin or maybe even a Lancer for tanking. So after that, put in a nice A tier. Then we have Staltus. Staltus is a really strong build or race for speed builds. With this, you get higher crit chance from when you put points into speed. So with all points into speed, Stallion Core, and just like max Soul Tree on crit chance and all that good stuff, you can get like almost 45% crit chance while having max damage, which just makes it really good for speed builds, but not much flexibility outside of speed builds. You can also use this on some farming builds just because of the running ability you get. So I'll put this in a high B tier. Then next up we have Shia. Shia has some of the most flexibility in the game, alongside with 4 lives. I forgot to mention, Doahhan also has 4 lives, but Shia has 4 lives. It has a damaging move, a healing move, it has a -1 cooldown reduction on every single move, which is the main reason it can fit into any class. So with all that, we're gonna have to put in S tier. It benefits the most from supporting classes like healing or tanking or just utilizing that -1 cooldown to buff or to debuff, anything like that. Next up, we have Infurion. Infurion is very strong as well, and but the bad sides are you get 2 lives only instead of 3 or 4 sometimes, depending on what race you are. But for having only 2 lives total, you get a move that allows you to revive yourself in the middle of the fight. Cannot do this solo, by the way. And with that, you also get a pretty high damaging move that applies Sundered, and you do more damage when you are on fire, but you take more fire damage. Oh, with all that being said, very good for certain DPSs like Berserker and Impaler, just like Estella, but less damage than Estella, a little bit more sustainability than Estella, so I would put it around the same level. Then we have Nisei, another common race alongside Estella, Staltus, and it gives you around a 15% buff in elemental damage, a move that gives you energy in place of you getting vulnerable for 3 turns, and a 20% chance to get an extra potion when you make a potion, which is alright, I would say. It just gets outclassed in a lot of aspects. So I would have to put this like high C, low B, which I'll just put at low B. Then we have Lentum. Lentum used to be very strong, but nowadays is not very strong just for the main fact of the Ice Run shield no longer being in the game. And the Dragonbone shield is not very good because it can remove Hex if that's still a thing. So you're going to be running Slimy Buckler either way, which removes the main purpose of the race for when you get hit, you apply the 2 debuffs that Slimy Buckler already gives, and they don't stack with Lentum. So Lentum can only be used for like 1 build, and that's like Brawler right now. Estella does better than Lentum just because you get 50% extra healing, 50%, well, just because you get extra healing when you're below 50% HP. So I would put Lentum at low, high C somewhere. I would just put it above Vastan for now, just because you can make a brawler with it, which is alright, but compared to Doahhan or Amorus brawler, Amorus and Doahhan brawler just are way better. Then we have Draga. Draga absolutely thrives on luck builds. Luck Assassin, Luck Wraith, or Hybrid Wraith, and any build honestly that has like AoE or needs a little bit of sustainability because you get lifesteal on crits. You have a move that gives you a ton of lifesteal and HP back. Then whenever you kill something, you get damage ups, speed ups, all of that good stuff. So I'm gonna put it at S tier just because it has that flexibility on not only needing to make a luck build off of it, like you can make an Impaler that used to be really strong, or just because of sustainability you get and the buffs you get from killing the Shade Blades. And best classes, like I said, are probably Luck Assassin for DOT and Hybrid Wraith, which is around 150 Arcane, the rest into Luck. Then the next race is Amorus. Amorus is like the rich person race, or rich free to play race, but it's honestly not too great for what it costs, but it's not bad either. You get you get the ability to resist stun and hex, so you're immune to those status effects. You get an ability that costs 2 energy to swap your defense with the enemy's defense, which is pretty strong in MV, but it doesn't actually swap it, you just take theirs and they keep the one that they already have, I'm pretty sure. It's like bugged or something. And you have the highest base damage move for any race, which is Undulating Hex, but it costs 4 energy, which is quite high. It does also put Hex on the enemy. Well, saying that, I would put it behind Staltus, but in front of Mise. The best builds for this is Brawler for DPS and then Hexer for support. Then we have Dominos. Dominos is pretty strong in terms of healing, but doesn't have much flexibility at all, just because it fits the role of a saint, and you get a little bit extra outgoing healing. You get a regen buff move that honestly doesn't do much, and you will like never use it. And you get a move called Mulligan Realm, which gives you one-shot protection. There's not 100% chance it'll give you one-shot protection, and it's not too great for the moves. Just from the outgoing healing buff, it's pretty good. I would put it high B, just because it's one of the best races for Saint. If as a Saint, you would either want to go Dominos or Shia. Then we have Corvololis. Corvololis is the race that can get you the most damage out of like any other race, just because it is very strong with its ability Cast Amplify, and if you stack that on top of Arcane Ritual, you just can absolutely nuke. Cast Amplify buffs any elemental move, which is every single type of attack except for physical and like poison. So, and if you are physical type damage, you could always just wear a wicked crown to swap over to dark type to still receive the buffs from Cast Amplify, which allows Corvololis to get a lot of flexibility, and it has some passives where it gains more XP, but also you get 20% more magic and holy type damage. So alongside Cast Amplify, if you have a magic or holy type move, you can buff a ton. The best classes for Corvololis will have to be DPS Assassin, Impaler, DPS Saint. There's just a ton. You could go Dark Wraith, Monk. This is the best race for Monk. Nisha is the second best race for Monk. And yep, that's going straight in S just because highest damage output, good amount of flexibility. And that'll be the end of this tier list. Thank you for watching. Drop a like, maybe even a subscribe, and comment down below if you think I'm incorrect in any way. And I'll see you guys next time.